Hello world, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's the 28th of November 2014. I'm looking at what's going on. Immediately, the moon's at 21 Aquarius and it's opposite Jupiter. So anyone who's watching this early in the morning, you're going to be finding that some situations are just a little bit larger than life or over the top. A few dramas, a few storms in a teacup, but no big deal. The moon's going to then go square to Saturn and there will be a small void moon later for about 4 hours, but no big deal, honestly. I suppose if there is such a big thing, the big things of today is A, that Mercury has just moved into Sagittarius, and B, that Ceres is today squaring Chiron and trining Uranus. Let's look at these things. They both deal with what I call the Pisces-Sagittarius axis. Mercury in Sagittarius. Well, I don't mind Mercury in Scorpio. I think that of all the water signs, Mercury's best placed in Scorpio because it adds a degree of psychological insight and depth into one's cognitive faculties. It brings a degree of insight into the way that other people's minds work, and people with Mercury in Scorpio are always one step ahead of a curve when it comes to predicting what other people are about to say or do. So when Mercury leaves Scorpio and moves into Sagittarius, which after all is opposite its ruling sign of Gemini, then perhaps Mercury in Sagittarius after all isn't that brilliant a particularly good place for it, because let's face it, Mercury deals with logic and rationality and analysis and factual and detailed information, facts and figures. Whereas Sagittarius deals with the big picture, the overview, the large scale, the long term, the bigger picture. It's the philosophies behind the words. It's not the words themselves, it's the ideas, the philosophies, the belief systems, the abstracts, the concepts. All of these things that lie behind the words of Gemini. So Mercury in Sagittarius, gets the big picture, but it lacks in terms of detail and analysis. So it's large, it's big, it's got an overview, but not the detail for the fine tuning. Ceres in Sagittarius is a bit of a different story. Ceres is ambivalent in Sagittarius, bearing in mind that the principle of Ceres is that of nurturing. Sagittarius is all about growth, expansion, travel, whether it be physical or mental. So Ceres here seeks to nurture the higher mind, and the recent conjunction of Venus and Ceres in the last couple of days may well have brought a few people, particularly those born from about the 4th to the 6th of December and around the 3rd to the 4th of March. If you're one of these people, you may have found that the last couple of days has brought, on the one hand, a wealth of knowledge and information, but at the same time, the capacity for self-sabotage through jumping to conclusions and overstating the big picture and missing out the details. Ceres in Sagittarius seeks to nurture the higher mind through some type of larger big picture knowledge, not the details and facts of information, but the knowledge and the wisdom of the bigger picture. Chiron in Pisces, 7 years worth admittedly, is very much a position that deals with issues around endings and new beginnings, mourning and grieving, as well as a celebration of new birth, but more fundamentally than that, one's innermost deeper emotional states at the more neurotic level, and the capacity for self-sabotage. Therefore, anybody born on those birthdays at the end of the first week of December or the first week of March, or by, I suppose, extension also the end of the first week of June and the first week of September, you may well have found that in this last few days has been a period of comfort eating or other forms of distraction therapy designed to stop you feeling so raw. Ceres is still square Chiron, so there can be certain issues around the way that individuals were nurtured as a child, the way they nurture themselves now, or the way they allow others to nurture them as an adult. It's not a big deal, not compared to the big picture, but it's an interesting fine-tuning little point. Look at Ceres in your horoscope. Look at the ways in which you allow others to nurture you or not. The house position will show how you welcome or refute nurturing from the outside world. Whereas the aspects to Ceres will show your own capacity for both giving and receiving nurturing. And if you need a clue as to your own nurturing ability, look at your position of Ceres and take it back to the first 7 years of life, because that's where you'll find the keys around who nurtures who. Now, final thing today, that moon in Aquarius is going to be there for the rest of the day, for the next 18 hours. It's going to oppose Saturn, square Saturn in a few hours' time. Today is a day for sensible and moderate pacing of oneself. Catch you later.